What if you could track thousands of AliExpress prices, reviews, and trending products automatically in real time? Hi, my name is Mendogas, and in this video, I'll show you exactly how to scrape AliExpress product data with simple Python scripts. We'll build two scripts. The main one, AliExpress-scraper.py, extracts three types of data: search results, individual product pages, and top-selling products. The second, AliExpress-reviews.py, handles customer reviews. We'll walk through each step, show you real output, and cover how to handle blocks and failed requests. Let's get right into it. First things first, let's get the environment ready. The only external library you'll need is requests. Open your terminal and run this command. Everything else comes built into Python. We'll be using four standard libraries. Requests sends HTTP calls to the Oxylabs API, while JSON parses the JSON responses the API sends back. Finally, CSV writes our results to spreadsheet files, and RE helps us extract product IDs from URLs. Before we start writing scraping code, there's something important to understand about AliExpress. It's a dynamic website. A lot of its content is loaded by JavaScript after the page first renders. A simple HTTP request only gets you the raw HTML skeleton. This is where Oxylabs Web Scraper API comes in. It handles JavaScript rendering, proxy rotation, and anti-bot measures automatically. You send a structured payload, and it returns clean, parsed data. You could also approach this with a headless browser like Playwright, or intercept the internal API calls the site makes. I'm using the Oxylabs API because it's the most reliable and the easiest to scale. Let's start with search results. We want to scrape product titles, current prices, original prices, and URLs for a given keyword across multiple pages. At the top, we import our libraries and set up config. We define the credentials tuple, the API endpoint URL, a search keyword, the number of pages to scrape, and the top-selling URL we'll use later. Before we write the scraping functions, let's add two small helpers we'll reuse throughout the script. The first, post to API, wraps every API call. The second, save to CSV, takes a list of dicts and writes them to a CSV. Now we define scrape search results. We build a list of page URLs dynamically. The keyword goes into the URL path with dashes, and we append $page equals n for each page number. Next, we build the API payload. Source is universal. This tells Oxylabs to handle the site generically. We set geolocation and locale to the United States, so prices show in dollars, and use a desktop user agent. Here's something important. AliExpress search pages use lazy loading. Only the first 12 or so products are visible on initial load. The rest only appear as you scroll. You can see this right here in DevTools. To handle that, we use the API's browser instructions to simulate scrolling. We define a scroll instruction of 3000 pixels, repeated 3 times with a 2-second wait between each. That's enough to load the full product list. Then, we enable parsing and define our parsing instructions. We target every product card inside the card list div using XPath, and loop through each one with the items iterator. For each product, we extract the title from the H3 tag. The current price is split across multiple span elements. We target the parent of the $sign span directly. That's the price container. Then, use items to collect all child span texts and join them into one string. For the original price, we navigate from that same $ span up 2 levels. Then find the following sibling div that contains the old price. For the URL, we grab the href attribute and use a regex to strip query parameters, keeping just the clean product path. We loop through each page URL, call our post to API helper, and extend the data list. Notice we wrap each request in a try except. HTTP errors and timeouts are handled gracefully instead of crashing the whole run. At the end, we save everything to a CSV using our helper. And voila! We have all the search results we need: titles, prices, and URLs, all ready to use. Now, let's go deeper. We'll take the product URLs from search results and scrape the full product page: title, price, discount, units sold, rating, review count, delivery info, and full specifications. The payload structure is the same as before, but instead of scrolling, we click the View More button to expand the specifications section. We target it with an XPath selector passed as a click browser instruction. The parsing instructions cover each field. Title comes from the h1 data.pl attribute. Current price uses the same items plus join approach as the search scraper. Original price and discount are both single elements we can grab with XPath1. Sold count and rating both use the amount from string built-in to strip surrounding text and return a clean number. Reviews count, delivery info, and specifications round out the payload. Specs use underscore items to extract each title description pair from the spec rows. We loop through each URL, call post to API, and format the specs into a readable semicolon-delimited string. We also attach the URL to the result, so we can trace data back to its source. Error handling wraps every request, same as before. There we go! Full product detail for every URL we passed in. But before we get to top-selling products, we need two utility functions. The first extracts the product ID from an AliExpress URL. The second utility, extract product URLs, takes the raw search result data and returns a clean list of full product URLs. If you want to track what's actually trending on AliExpress, there's a top-selling section for every category. The key difference from search results is pagination. Instead of "page equals in the URL, this page uses infinite scrolling. We handle it the same way we handled lazy loading, repeated scroll instructions. To load around 300 products, we scroll 2,400 pixels at a time, 19 times. The parsing instructions follow the same structure as the search scraper. Title, current price, original price, sales amount, and URL. Just with updated XPath selectors for the top-selling page layout. Note that Price Original uses a class-based selector here, since the layout differs from search results. Run it and you'll get topselling.csv, a full list of trending products with pricing and sales data. Reviews are one of the more interesting parts of this tutorial. They're loaded from a completely separate endpoint, not the product page itself. Because of that, the review scraper lives in its own file, AliExpress reviews.py. At the top, we have the same credentials and API URL. We also define a product URLs list, where you can drop in any product URLs you want to scrape reviews for, and a max reviews constant to control how many to pull per product. Once you know about the separate endpoint, scraping reviews is actually simpler than the product page. We call this endpoint directly by constructing the URL with 4 key parameters: product LD, lang, country, and page size. By increasing page size, you can pull hundreds of reviews in a single request. We send it to the API with a minimal universal payload. No JavaScript rendering needed since it's a JSON endpoint. Then, we parse the JSON string from the raw content field. We loop through the EVA viewList array and pull out everything useful: rating, date, review text, translated text, reviewer name, country, and vote counts. We also include the product ID field. That way, you can join review data back to product data later. And there you have it, review data ready for sentiment analysis, customer research, or feeding into a dashboard. Let's have a look at what we've built. The main script produces 3 CSVs: search results, full product details, and top-selling products. The review script produces a 4th. Each one is clean, immediately usable. Open it in Excel, load it into a database, or pipe it into a Python analysis script. The use cases are broad: price monitoring over time, sentiment analysis from reviews, trend spotting from top sellers, competitor benchmarking from product specs. Before you scale this up, a word on blocks. At higher volumes, you might run into 403 errors, CAPTCHAs, and rate limiting. The fix is proxy rotation, making each request appear to come from a different IP. In our script, a proxy block is already there. It's just commented out. Uncomment it, fill in your proxy credentials, and pass proxies equal proxies into any requests.post call. Oxylabs residential proxies rotate automatically, so you don't need to manage a pool yourself. We've already wrapped every request in error handling throughout the script, using our post to API helper and the try except blocks in each function. Here's that pattern explicitly, in case you want to adapt it for a retry loop. The main entry point ties it all together. We run the search first, feed those URLs into the product page scraper, limited to 5 for testing, then run the top-selling scraper independently. Let's recap. We've got two scripts. AliExpress scraper.py handles search results, product pages, and top-selling products, while AliExpress reviews.py handles the reviews endpoint. We also covered dynamic page rendering, browser instructions for scrolling and clicking, custom XPath parsing, reusable helper functions, error handling with try except, and enabling proxy rotation. For additional resources and deep dives, check out our blog. And if you need help along the way, our support team is available 24/7 at support@oxylabs.io. Found this useful? Subscribe and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching. See you next time.